Call the meeting to order, 4:31. I think we're gonna have to table the regular meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Library assistant position, the library board met, interviewed people for the assistant position, came up with Elizabeth Ebner as the candidate they felt was the, I guess you could say, the best candidate, so. Any recommendation to appoint her to that position?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Is this a new?
Replacement, Stephanie.
Stephanie,
Oh.
has resigned and is in place.
All right.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so move. We got Elizabeth, and she'll be in tomorrow, I think, to do some paperwork. I saw her today.
When is she able to start, Tom?
Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow she can actually
So
start
it's-
working?
Is that what you said, or, yeah?
Lauren will come with me and we can make it work because I'll be with her training for in the evening, so it will all work out. Thank you very much, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, good. All right,
Alright.
refunds abatements, we have two totaling $1,267.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointments, we don't have any, right?
Right.
Correspondence, Kyle, excuse me, did drop off this, I don't know, we could add two things to the agenda if you want. Maybe the line striping. As
Yeah.
6A and 6B would be region 20.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add those to the agenda.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, line striping. I think Kyle was looking for. It wouldn't be good to have him in here, because I'm not sure how much money he has available. But these are all the ones that he came up with. If we had any thoughts on them. Elaine White, I thought, was probably top of the list, which it happens to be, just because it's A, but it is definitely a highly utilized road. We have the new asphalt in on that little bit of a corner where the jump was. A lot of people call for it there, so I think definitely Elaine White Road. Another one I've had comments on from people would be Eldridge. I don't know if I see it here. I think the people at Eldridge would like to see, at least some of the people, some lines down that road. Even with the little bit of street lights they have there.
Yeah.
They feel it's still just,
Yeah.
too much.
Well, it makes sense.
I don't know, maybe we could get Kyle to come up with a list that he feels could fit within his budget and bring it back to us, but I would definitely go with Lane White and probably.
Yeah, I would have him pick out the most important roads that he feels. Whatever money we have in the budget.
Right. I see he's not doing like stripes on all the roads. I see just like Co Road has a couple stop bars. We've had people express some concern about putting lines on roads. So
Well, it does help at night,
it does.
it really does.
Apparently it helps with the some of this smarter vehicles, with the
Yes,
cameras and everything. They
Yes.
use to stay in the lane.
yes,
But let me reach out to him, maybe come back. 'Cause I really need to see where he's at with his budget, see what we can afford, because that's an awful lot of roads. And
and I'm not. There may be some roads that we really need lines on right at this point. I mean, the main roads that are traveled, I would say.
Yeah,
Let's see what he has in the budget.
and we gotta look at what he's gonna chip seal next year as well, because you don't wanna line it and chip over it.
Right.
Well, we have a list, if anything else pops up before the next meeting, but I'll get Kyle to do some comments on that. Region 20 budget. I asked for, and I ended up finally receiving a line item budget that you have there. I think maybe we'll get a clean copy of this put up on the website as well. I think it should be on their website, but I have not seen it up there yet. Near as I can tell, from my last conversations with members of the Board of Education and the superintendent. We're close to, I believe, including the Litchfield school debt. I think we're close to about $4 million in debt for Region 20. Wow. I've asked if they are thinking about putting in a spending freeze. I think they might be considering that Thursday night at their meeting in Goshen. Full debt owed to, including the debt owed to Litchfield, they feel would be about $4,069,641. I asked if there's certain positions that are within the budget that they've not been filled yet. I think there's a few of those. You really should consider, if possible, not filling those to try to save some money. And capital projects, it's concerning that, from my understanding, I could be wrong, but there was $1,036,000, I think, in the budget for capital. Or maybe it was an even million. And it's my understanding they may have moved the money out of that capital fund to pay for other items within the budget. Yet still are expending those funds, those capital funds. So kind of, to me, it's money that we don't have. Another concern that was brought up as well, I actually had a local contractor in the office the other day. They're looking at adding parking to the at Lakeview High School. Right now, I think if they can get it in there, it'll be probably a gravel parking lot until next year. But I asked how they went about getting the bids for that, and there was no formal process, no RFP. A couple contractors were called by phone. One could not do the project given the tight timeline. And the other one said he could do it. Well, that leaves out a lot of contractors. We have a lot of good local small contractors. They're not so small.
That should go through a bid process, just like everything else, you would think.
At first, I was told it was an emergency. And I said, well, a boiler in the middle of the winter is an emergency. A parking that we've known we've needed for probably 25 years or 20 years really is not an emergency.
Not at this point in the game when your budget is. You don't have enough money for the budget and you're spending the money, and that's what I'm afraid is gonna happen. Is they're just gonna keep going as they have an open checkbook,
Right.
and how do you stop it?
It's gotta stop.
Yeah, but how? How do you stop it?
I don't know. I mean, they added close to, if you look at the capital project list. They added some capital priorities at the bottom there. Oh, yeah. And that's $536,000. They feel they need all this. And I understand, I believe in the past, they maybe had a contractor do I think they did it, having Town of Litchfield had a contractor that plowed the Plum Hill driveways and all that there. So I believe the feeling of the Board of Ed is they can do it in-house, so they're looking to purchase, a plow truck and plow. that might be the same case with the mowers that they feel they need. Snow blowers, mowers for obviously mowing the lawn in the summertime.
Do they have enough people to do their own plowing and cutting the grass and maintain the schools?
I'm not sure if that was factored in to the plan. I'm not positive. There's a lot of questions out there and, the good questions, and I'm sure they have some good answers for them as well. But, I think they really have to look at reducing the expenditures and we cannot keep on spending money that we absolutely don't have in hopes that come October for the referendum, people say yes. But my question to them was, what if the people say no? Where are you then? You already spent the money.
That's what I'm saying, they're already spending money. So this referendum, if the taxpayers say no, the school doesn't stop,
No,
it just keeps going,
I mean, you still have payroll,
right?
you still have electricity, insurance. I mean, you run out of money at some point.
Yeah, and then what do you do? Say, okay, now we close the schools?
Right. I mean, that's not gonna
That's
happen.
not gonna happen, no.
I mean, front doors, electrical masonry for $90,000. Is that a priority? I know, if they're talking front doors, I imagine. Imagine they're talking about the area back behind the school now, where you enter into the gymnasium area, auditorium area. Cause that is an important issue, but does it have to be done this year? I mean, look at all these things, do they have to be done this year? Probably the boiler.
Yeah, I would think anything to do with any kind of heat or air, I don't know if they have air conditioner, any kind of heating systems and stuff, those are emergency situations.
Yeah.
But other than that, they should be looking to reduce the budget,
Add on to it.
not spending.
So we're gonna continue talking with the administration, Superintendent Del Vope and some members of the Board of Ed. And try to, if they wanna be able to move forward with a proposal in October, I think they really have to scour what they have, look at what they have and look for ways to reduce. Obviously, you don't wanna take away from, you shouldn't take away from the children's education.
Right.
But you have to find every other way to make it work.
Yes, and plus they have to have meetings to present this to the taxpayers.
I think they have a plan to go town to town with it.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell when,
It's a very hard sell, especially. Where's the money gonna come from the bonding? If they bond this, the taxpayers are gonna have to pay.
oh yeah,
So the taxpayers are gonna have to know that they're gonna either get a supplement tax bill or an increase in taxes the following year.
and I'd like to really see is the breakdown of their deficit. How much is it one-time capital expenses? And how much is items in the budget that weren't properly funded that are gonna have to be funded next year? So we're gonna look at those items as increases to the current budget, plus the payment on the bond or the loan or whatever we're taking out. I'm not sure which way they're going with that. Plus the increases in contractual costs, for all the wages. I think you're gonna be looking at a significantly higher budget next year for the four towns.
I think you are too, and I don't see any other way of doing it.
Yeah.
And all those promises they made to us, saying that it was gonna be cheaper. They really didn't do right by the taxpayers by telling them that last year.
Yeah.
Because that may have changed the vote of this whole school district.
Right.
You know,
I can't understand why it would be higher, based on everything we were told. Based on the reduction in staff that would be required. Yeah, with a combination of the schools and the grade, different grades merging into one instead of two. So I think this is something that people really have to keep an eye on and be informed, and I think the Board of Ed really has to work hard to keep the people informed, be very transparent, get these documents out there, they should be on the website. Items, these documents should be available at every meeting that they have, and they're not.
Well, if they wanna get this referendum passed, they're gonna have to sell it to the taxpayers.
And I said at their last meeting, I said at this point, I cannot support. Passing the referendum in October at this point. Changed my mind. But I'm just one vote.
Well, they're originally talking about sometime after the election in November. Originally,
Yeah, but I think they were looking October, I think,
so,
for the referendum, because they have to get that done. I think the early voting starts. October 26th or 27th,
okay,
so we have to, there's early voting for the referendum.
there is, huh? Wow,
Not 2 weeks, but there's early voting.
right,
So our registrars and everyone who staffs there are gonna be very busy. Yeah, so I'm obviously very concerned about, and everyone should be, about what's going on here. Hopefully we hear more Thursday night and hopefully it's good news.
well, all we can do is just see what they can. I mean, this is a lot of information right here. But I'm just not, I'm just not happy with the first proposal they gave. Saying that how much of a savings this was gonna be, and now you're turning around to the taxpayers and say, oh, we have a shortfall here, and
Yeah,
and you're gonna have to pay for it. That's kind of like a slap in the face.
one idea that was floated out there for a referendum was two questions.
Yeah.
Do we just approve the Litchfield school debt that we already knew about and we agreed upon in the plan? Do we just approve that 1.8 million? Or do we approve the whole package that we're proposing of $3.65 million?
Yeah. I find that hard to believe that that's gonna pass.
At this point,
I really don't.
there's gotta be significant changes
Right.
and a lot of PR to really convince everybody about it.
Yeah, I just look at some of the prices here and. I'm looking at gym floors to change gym floors and. I mean, was that really that important right now? I mean, it's a nice gesture, a nice show, but
Yeah, I get part of it, it's a new school and should be branded as such. But how far do you have to go with the branding?
right,
Like the windows at the Litchfield or the Plum Hill Gymnasium. The big Bobcat thing in the windows.
Yeah.
Did we really have to go that far? I mean, it's, it's not a ton of money, but it all adds up.
it all adds up and it. I get it, I know what they wanna try to present,
Right.
but when you're short money. That doesn't make a good example of how you're spending your money.
Yeah.
You would think you would spend your money wisely for teacher salary, insurance. And whatever you need for education for the kids.
Right.
Not to be painting symbols on the wall or doing gym floor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested to see if they have the manpower to do the plowing and the snow blowing and.
I missed that conversation, so it may be they, figured on that, but I'm not positive.
Right.
But if they figured on that, why are we now buying, why are they now adding snow plows and lawnmowers?
Right.
If it was already figured out, I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see what happens Thursday night at the meeting and hopefully there's some positive that's coming out of it.
Yeah, anything else? No, it's a lot to digest and it's ever changing, so. Any public comment from anyone online? I asked them both to unmute, but there's no public comment. Is there a motion to adjourn at 4:51?
I'll make that motion.
All second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.